Hello, it's Friday, September 20th, and this video segment I call My Perspective and Comments. And I'd like to start today regarding one of the Democratic presidential hopefuls and what he had to say. And that candidate was Robert Francis O'Rourke. Yes, affectionately known by the liberals and many now in the States as Beto. Yes, Beto has doubled, tripled, quadrupled down on his wanting to go into anyone's home that has an AR or AK series and snatch that gun out of the home. Yes, by force, if necessary. That's Beto's proposal. And it just goes to show where he is in the polls, in the Democratic race right now. He's throwing a Hail Mary pass. And many of the uncrazies out there that are in the Democratic Party aren't going down that road. In fact, we had Chris Coons, who is a senator from Delaware. He took Joe Biden's old seat when Joe was in the Senate. And he came out in one of this past weekend on those shows, the Sunday shows, and basically outright said, no, Beto, we're not going to rip up the Second Amendment and go in and take the guns out of law-abiding citizens. So it goes to show that, and I think this makes a point that when the people that are going to be voting for Democrats aren't looking for the far left socialists, and I've stated this before, they're not looking for the crazy. They're looking for someone that is not far left. And they are looking for someone more towards the center. More of a traditional Democrat. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, Joe Biden is a leftist. And he would want to slow down gun control, yes. I mean, Joe Biden would be pushing. He'd be one of those candidates pushing. But Joe Biden isn't going to go in and want to snatch guns out of law-abiding citizens. I'd like to switch gears, so to speak, and talk a bit about Brett Kavanaugh. And specifically about the New York Times and their smear campaign. I mean, 9/11, it wasn't terrorists, it was the planes. The planes were the ones that were the assaulters and the murderers. Now the New York Times brings back already decided conclusion, and the testimonies came out of these people accusing Brett Kavanaugh of doing this, that, and the other. And everyone was proven to be the people that were supposedly in the room said that in some cases Brett wasn't even there. And the memories of those that were there, or the accusers, were proven to be not credible. But here comes the New York Times, bringing back yet the basic same story, the same playbook was used. And what do we find? The so-called accuser no recollection, not there. What supposedly she was accusing never happened. So here we go, the New York Times, just another arm of the Democrat Party, and that's where the media in this, Washington Post is another one. that they're taking the mask off. They are outright and bringing stories and telling half-truths or outright not telling the truth on a story to bring down anything that might have to do with Trump or conservatism. And Clarence Thomas, I think, said it best, because they tried that same playbook on him. And what did Clarence Thomas say? This was a high-tech lynching. And guess what? They did the same thing here with Brett Kavanaugh. And I want to point out one other individual that had the same thing happen. The only difference is that in Brett Kavanaugh's case, you had Mitch McConnell, Senator Graham, most all of the GOP was fighting and supporting Brett Kavanaugh. And also you had the same situation for Clarence Thomas, that he wasn't left out, hung out to dry, so to speak, but he had support. One individual, though, things happened a little bit different. And that individual was running for the Senate. And his name was Judge Roy Moore. Same attack. Same credibility issues from the accusers. But you didn't have Mitch McConnell pushing. In fact, Mitch McConnell was basically, he didn't want to see Judge Roy Moore there. And even President Trump was not in Judge Roy Moore's corner. And a totally different outcome happened. And think about this, folks. Judge Roy Moore lost to Doug Jones by 1.5 percentage points. 1.5%. If he had more support from the GOP, might that have been a different election conclusion? And I want to touch on one other area that was in the news. And it kind of goes to what's been going on in our culture, what's been going on in our churches. And I won't say, I won't say churches, but there are some that would be considered churches that is troubling. And this happened this week, and as I've been stating here over the last few video segments regarding the new religion, and that is the social justice and all that encompasses. And one area right now that was going on this week is you may have seen on the news, this whole climate change push, and the people coming together and protesting about where something needs to be done. That culminated this week, along with that movement, and maybe you've heard on the news regarding this institution, Union Theological Seminary. Yes, let me repeat that. Union Theological Seminary. And they are based out of New York City. What they had was people coming together at a chapel and having various plants about the floor, and they proceeded to pray to the plants regarding their position and how they have affected climate change and all that they did, and basically repenting for that, maybe not being as sensitive when it comes to their participation in climate change. Let me repeat that, folks. Praying to plants for, and repenting for their participation in climate change. Now, folks, if that isn't pushed by the spirit of this age, or in other words, Beelzebub, I don't know. But here is a supposedly a place of learning for students to come and learn about God, and what are they teaching, and what are they allowing? And I kind of wonder what's going to be next. Astaroth poles? I mean, already they have the worship of killing and sacrifice. I mean, called Planned Parenthood. It's just it's an area that we're seeing more and more of this being embraced. That social justice, caring, letting government be the God to care for people. And once again, as I've stated before, it's man trying to take the place of God. And we keep praying. When I see things like this, I say, are we looking at end times? God, as we see it in His Word, that He will come like a thief in the night. We don't know when the Lord is coming again, but there's signs. We keep our eyes open to see what's happening around the world in our culture, and it sure appears that we're moving into some end times here, where the creation now is worshipped rather than the Creator. So we keep praying. We keep, just be ready for our Lord, and be prepared to give an answer, and let your light shine in this world. And that's my perspective and comment.